late night cage fight.
Someone's going to steal the Declaration of Independence. Steal the Declaration of Independence.
The treasure of the Knights Templar is the treasure of all treasures.
Oh, I didn't know that. Really? How's this matter in your cage?
This is Late Night Cage Fight, Episode 4. We are the best Nicolas Cage podcast ever to exist. We're on a mission to watch every Nicolas Cage movie ever made. And it's a very special night for us tonight because it's a double feature. For reasons we may or may not mention, we're going to have to do a slight run-through of Cotton Club, starring Richard Gere, featuring a little bit of Nicolas Cage here and there. And we'll finish up with an extended review of Birdy. Yes, I did. I made a mistake. I lost our previous podcast. I thought I had recorded over it, but it turns out it never even recorded in the first place. So,
it turns out though, honestly, it's going to work out pretty well because this time I actually watched Cotton Club prior to the recording. So
that's good.
That's good, Steve.
Kevin, did you ever realize that I didn't watch it after the last?
Yeah, Reese blew your load.
Did he?
I know. Yeah.
I did. It was unfortunate. I was a bit inebriated and I decided to spill the beans.
Well, I figured after the the last 10 minutes or so, Kevin was like, "Do you even know what you're talking about?" I was like, "Yeah, of course I know what I'm talking about."
Yeah. Steve just pretended that everything in Cotton Club was amazing, but I think as you're going to hear tonight, it's not amazing. So where do I start with Cotton Club?
Does it matter?
No. We'll start with 1984. That's when it was made. Co-written and directed by Uncle Francis Ford Coppola, starring Richard Gere, Gregory Hines,
Not one of his better films.
Diane Lane and Lynette McKee, with supporting roles by Bob Hoskins, James Remar, Alan Garfield, Lawrence Fishburne, and Nicolas Cage. Sorry, Cage. I really don't know where to start. This movie is a mess. A lot of people like it. In fact, people that I've met out in public have said, "Oh, that movie, Cotton Club, yeah, the one about the Cotton Club, that was pretty good. I liked it." And I think they just don't remember. They don't really remember their experience watching it because it's very, very difficult to sit through. Kevin and I actually
Different experience than I did.
we watched it together with a buddy of ours named Zach at my grandmother's farmhouse out in the dark by the river, struggling to stay awake, to pay attention, to understand all of the events happening.
See, when I told people I was actually watching Cotton Club, nobody seemed interested in it. People actually thought that was just a euphemism for a Klan rally.
God bless white America.
Yeah, and there's a huge racial element to the movie, of course, that we're going to get to, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Cotton Club, man, it's so hard to watch. Apparently, it was an even bigger mess to make at $58 million. And now in 2019, it's almost impossible to find. I originally, I had to order a DVD on eBay. And when I got the DVD, the disc was broken. So then I bought a VHS tape. And that's how we watched it on VHS. You can't stream it, apparently. I think HBO might have it exclusively. But it's really, really difficult to find now. So
Yeah, I had tried to order it through the library, and they needed to transfer it from a library down south up to my library.
Yeah.
And it was right in the middle of the apocalyptic winter storm that we had.
yeah.
And the library basically said, "We're not risking our lives for this film."
That's bullshit.
That's basically what they said. They put it on. They put me on wait for another week. That's why I feigned having watched the movie because it didn't get here as quickly as it was supposed to.
Now, having watched the movie now, are you glad you saw it? Did it change your life in any significant way? Let me just hold that thought.
I couldn't sit down. It wasn't like a sit down and watch movie for me.
That's probably where we went wrong. We sat down.
We
and
sat
watched
down.
it.
Yeah, I tried, but it was so sporadic.
It just wasn't really getting anywhere either.
Yeah, but there was no like consistent theme. That was my issue. It was like 1 second, like I put it on and like 1 second it was really dramatic, and the next thing you know, it was like really comical, and then it was really just
all over the place.
Yeah.
It was like a compilation of stories that happened they were somewhat related to the Cotton Club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was basically the IMDb description. This is their description of the movie. Again, the Cotton Club was a famous nightclub in Harlem. The story follows the people who visited the club, those who ran it, and is peppered with the jazz music that made it so famous. There you go.
He's a struggling musician.
I know all about you. The way you play your cornet.
You. She's the property of Dutch Schultz.
If I didn't like you, you'd be dead.
For her love, he'll risk his career and his life. Richard Gere walks the tightrope between the jazz world and the underworld.
Don't touch her. Don't you ever touch her like that again.
The Cotton Club from Orion Pictures. Be there when this legend is born. Rated R. Starts Friday, December 14th.
That's
Now, and then to take it even further outside of being a movie, as a Nicolas Cage movie, I actually didn't really recognize his presence at all in that movie.
Well, there wasn't much of it.
There wasn't much, but even the bit that there was
Yeah.
honestly diluted.
Well, but slightly comedic because he had this super forced accent that he was using that kind of made me chuckle a little bit.
But I still barely recognized, and maybe it was because my interest was so low.
Well, every scene with Cage, he's in it with another actor, and the other actor is more important than he is.
That's true.
For the
That's
most
true.
part. Mm-hmm. Despite all the stars and the massive budget, it's a hot mess that's packed into this thing. Richard Gere plays Dixie Dwyer, a musician who lands a steady gig with the mob, performing at the Cotton Club with mostly black performers. And by performers, I mean tap dancers, women shrieking. And that's the entertainment at the Cotton Club. Diane Lane, she's back again. She wears a really silly-looking diamond Cleopatra headpiece and mopes around the movie looking like a bored mummy. James Remar murders some guy violently with a knife at the beginning, and I thought that was cool. But Nicolas Cage, there's barely any Nicolas Cage in the movie. He shows up a few times. He says some...
Nicholas, Richard Gere's brother, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
He says...
didn't even need to be in the movie, really. I just
No.
feel like this was Uncle Frank giving him a little allowance.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well...
It was one of those like brother roles, which he's had a few of lately.
So, when Coppola made this movie, most of the main characters were real historical figures. So that's why, it's like, oh, well, we got to pick real people so you can play this guy. But basically, Nic Cage shows up a few times, says some racist shit, and then gets shot in a phone booth. But I liked his death scene. It was kind of intense. He's in the phone booth, and they just annihilate him. In the movie, it plods along as viewers are treated to musical number after number. Gangsters mumbling unintelligible lines in smoky rooms, and jarring cinematography that seems like it's only there to remind you, hey, this is a period movie set in the 1930s. Remember? Gangsters, tap dancers, jazz. Yeah. I was disappointed because I also couldn't do the Nick list, which I just started in the last episode, because there's not enough Nicolas Cage to do it. I'd say The Cotton Club, it's a movie for people who went to the Cotton Club, who were there, the 5 or 6 people who are still alive, who remember the good times. And what's so crazy is how this movie was made. It was plagued with financial problems. Coppola didn't even want to do it. He only took the job because he was in such debt from his last movie called One from the Heart. Then you had all these shady investors that included a vaudeville promoter named Roy Radin, if I'm pronouncing that right. He was murdered a year later after shooting the film by a female drug dealer who claimed she was cut out of the film's profits. So there's some real-life crime connected with the funding about this movie about crime in the 1930s. There were 12 scripts produced for the film, and there were 5 written during a 48-hour script writing marathon from hell. That had to be fun. And after all that, it was a commercial failure. It made $30 million on a $58 million budget. People seemed to like it at the time. Siskel and Ebert They loved it, said it was one of the year's best. But you know what else came out in 1984? You had Beverly Hills Cop with Eddie Murphy.
I ain't falling for no banana in my tailpipe.
Dune, which is, it's known as being a failure of a sci-fi classic novel.
He who controls the spice controls the
And then you had
universe.
2010, which was the sequel to 2001, which was a classic Kubrick film. And 2010 is like, why? It was nowhere near as good as 2001. It was just a year of disappointment. So Cotton Club, there's really no surprise that it would kind of stand out among the competition. But it just hasn't aged well, particularly when you look at other similarly themed films that have been released since Cotton Club. The one that I brought up last time, of course, was Chicago, which also Richard Gere was in Chicago, and it's just such a superior movie when it comes to, a period musical with violence and crime, all that stuff. They didn't even have to, be all racist like they are in Cotton Club. I swear you hear like every racial slur ever invented. That's my opinion. You guys have anything else to add about Cotton Club? Because I'm ready to just kick this one under the rug.
On a positive side, I really did enjoy the Kevin Spacey and Lurch from the Addams Family duo. I thought they were really great together.
Yeah, was that Lurch from the Addams Family, or was he from the Munsters?
It might have been from Munsters. Yeah.
Herman,
yeah.
Herman Munster.
Yeah.
I always like the way that guy talks. He just
Mm-hmm.
he sounds silly.
You can be black or yellow or white. It doesn't matter. What does matter is the size of your heart and the strength of your character.
It's hard to take it seriously.
They were really cute. $500. $500.
Yeah. I actually was
That was
really...
probably the most enjoyable part of the whole movie for me. It was just the dynamic between the two of them. Because I was going to seem to say somewhat consistent throughout the whole movie.
Uh-huh.
Why do you say Kevin Spacey?
Because the other guy, he just reminded me of Kevin Spacey. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Which guy? James Remar?
Yeah.
Oh,
The
yeah?
other, I honestly, I don't remember the actors' names. I didn't care enough to really do the research
Yeah,
on
sure.
this one, I'll be
Okay.
honest. But
Dutch.
Yeah.
Dutch.
yeah,
Dutch Schultz.
yeah.
Yeah.
He has a very like Kevin Spacey vibe to me.
Okay. Yeah, I'd say it's a movie that is not bad if you are heavily interested in that era and you're familiar with the Cotton Club, you're familiar with the mob and what they were doing during that time, because there is something to be said of the cinematography, which is always great in Coppola's movies. The sets were awesome. You really felt like you were a part of that era. But I'd say the weakest parts were really in the dialogue. It was kind of cheesy at times. It was hard for me to believe that people spoke this way to each other. I mean, maybe it was fairly accurate, but it was just very forced movie, stilted kind of dialogue, I felt, in places. They were really trying to drive home the racial angle, and I just thought that was a little too forced. But we have to remember, of course, when this movie was made in the 80s. Yeah. I'm not sure what else to say about Cotton Club. It's not awful. It's just kind of mediocre, and there's really not much we can do with it because Nic Cage has a very, very minor role compared to the other characters.
Yeah, even less than, well, I don't know about less, but similar to Rumblefish.
Well, I was actually going to propose that due to not only Nic Cage's limited appearance in this movie, but the movie's overall lack of redeeming qualities, I was actually going to propose that we eliminate it from the competition.
I agree.
Rumblefish, even though he has not a lot of screen time, I think there's a lot of redeeming qualities in Rumblefish, but I didn't get that out of Cotton Club. So I mean, I'm pushing the motion that we just scratch Cotton Club from.
Cotton Club is hereby removed from the competition. And with that, I mean, is there anything else you guys want to add about it? I do think
to be some sort of an unnecessary racist comment, but I feel like the movie did a better job than I could, anyways.
I like that. Well, I guess that's our transition into Birdy. Birdy, 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 Birdy. Birdy was not what I expected. I'll start with that.
How could you expect it?
No! Birdy! No! Birdy! Birdy! Just hold on, I'll go get help!
I can't hold on that long, Al.
What's so funny?
You look so serious.
It is fucking serious! Oh, shit!
I read the synopsis. Well, I read just the brief summary. I didn't want to spoil it, but I got the sense that it was kind of... I thought it was going to be kind of like Racing with the Moon.
Same.
In the tone. So I thought it was going to be, I don't know, kind of sentimental in that aspect. I knew it was going to be sad, too, because it was about two soldiers who were friends returning from war. But I didn't know which war. I didn't know anything else. I think I saw a still of Nic Cage with his shirt off, and I was like, "Oh, the ladies are gonna like that. They're gonna be rock hard for that." And that was it.
I was sold in the first 30 seconds.
Oh yeah, well, the first 30 seconds it starts out with this really trippy kind of low drone sound, like.
Hey, you, Bird Boy.
Bird Boy. Yeah, it was just kind of, it had a Rumblefish feel to it, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you see the screen text, an Alan Parker film. So I had to look up who Alan Parker is. He directed the Oscar-winning film Midnight Express and Pink Floyd's The Wall, if you've seen that. And he would go on to direct the Oscar-winning Mississippi Burning and Evita. So he is a distinguished filmmaker. Then the next screen text said Matthew Modine and Nicolas Cage. So it's like, oh, Nick's in it, but sorry, you're not the star. You got to share that with Matthew Modine. And I didn't know who he was either. Matthew Modine. I did recognize him though, and then it clicked. Oh yeah, he was the guy in Full Metal Jacket. He played Private Davis or Joker. Have you seen that? He was also.
That was Joker.
Yeah, that was Joker.
Mm.
A young Joker. He was a younger Joker. He's also in The Dark Knight Rises, Stranger Things, a whole bunch of TV movies and stuff. So he's still out there. And then the music was by Peter Gabriel. I'm like, are you kidding me? The dude from Genesis?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and a lot of the soundtrack has this similar ambient, spacey sound to it, kind of channeling In the Air Tonight a little bit. With all the drum rhythms.
We'll get to that one later because I have some comments on that coming up.
We'll get into that. Yeah, it's based on a novel by William Wharton. It was his first novel. I looked him up on Wikipedia. Yeah, that guy, he saw some shit. We'll just leave it at that. And that's obvious by, I think, what happens in Birdy. I like that it opens up with Nick in a hospital on a gurney. His face is wrapped up in bandages like Two-Face and Batman. Harvey Dent.
I did question, though, when I saw the bandages. As we know, Nick likes to do a lot of his own costumes, and I kind of wondered if he did his own bandages, too.
You think he was like, I'm in a hospital, but what if I just wrap this around my face? Kind of add some flair.
This is my best James Dean bandage wrap.
Yeah. And then they just wrote it in. Yeah, we find out he's had some kind of skin graft.
Right, you can do your own bandages. It's fine.
The doctor's like, how do you feel?
Make sure you follow the script for the rest of the movie.
He says he feels like the Invisible Man. But I feel like he's delivering his lines kind of without much feeling at the beginning. I just wasn't feeling his performance. Then he's on a train. He's in a uniform. It's like, oh, okay. So he is a soldier. I also noticed that Nick has his old teeth. You watch these old movies, his teeth are a lot different. Did you guys notice that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
he's got a big gap in his teeth, but behind like his fang or whatever you want to call it, canine.
Oh, yeah, I wonder. I mean, did he get braces or what did he do to correct that? He did some serious dental work.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know where he got the money, but.
I forgot to do the Nick list. Oh, so here's tonight's Nick list. Nic Cage makes out with the girl under the bleachers, fondles her boobies, and she says, I don't want to. To which he replies, oh, sure you do. We get to see Nic Cage throw fat pigeons in the air and go, yeah! That's true. Nic Cage has sex with a girl under a pier only a few feet away from his friend Birdy. Then he gets upset when Birdy creeps out the girl's friend and interrupts his sexy time.
You have got to learn to be more sociable.
There's a lot more I could add to the list, but let's just go through the movie.
You mentioned his teeth.
Yeah, you want to go back to that?
Yeah, you do realize that he had 2 teeth removed for this role.
He had teeth removed? I noticed, I swear I thought I saw a missing tooth.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like behind his canine on his right side.
Okay. They say it's for the movie. My theory is he had to get those teeth removed in order to get the dental work done he needed to get done. That's my theory. So Nic Cage, his name's Al in the movie. He meets Birdy. We find out that Birdy keeps pigeons. He says that he likes to keep them because they fly, and he's training them to be carrier pigeons. And Al, Nicolas Cage, thinks that, wow, that might be a good way to make some dough. So he offers to help Birdy catch pigeons under the bridge. That sequence I thought was pretty well done. Had some pretty shots.
Hold on, let me just check.
Please
are we
interject.
holding commentary until we get through the description?
No, go ahead.
Well, okay. So I just want to mention before we get to the whole interaction with Nick and Birdy, man, the whole Nick and the Sandlot crew.
Oh yeah, they're playing baseball.
It's Nick and a bunch of 12-year-olds.
Isn't it weird? Yeah.
Literally Nick and the crew and like the original cast from Sandlot.
It was just like if you
and
copy.
Birdy's mom is the fucking dog.
Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome.
Right. So they hit when they hit a home run, it goes into Birdy's yard, and his parents are nuts.
And Birdy's mom is like the fucking Rottweiler that's like, you're not getting your balls back, boys.
Birdy's mom is a hell of a lot worse.
Forever. Come on, guys. Forever.
That's what you're terrified of there. You're terrified of that woman.
Oh yeah, it's even more frightening.
Right.
It is. I had the same thought. I thought, okay, so Nick is an older kid, much older. I mean, he looks like he's out of high school, but he's not. Right? He's probably a senior or something. Yeah. Well, no, because he's getting drafted.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you look at him, he's this like shirtless, like cut, like 20-year-old probably.
Well, at the time he was. At the time he was in high school.
Yeah, in the context of the movie, he's maybe 17. In reality,
right?
I think
because they go right.
Yeah, and I mean, what's weird? All
the other kids there are clearly like 13 years old.
Oh, I was gonna say 8.
If you want to be a fucking winner, you play against young kids.
That's I had that thought too, Kevin. I thought maybe he's one of those guys that needs to. He's got to boost his ego, so he hangs out with the young kids and bosses them around.
We used to play baseball in the park in front of my house with I kid you not, the kid's name was what is it? Kenny?
Rogers?
Who's the famous saxophone player? Kenny
Rogers?
Kenny G?
Yeah, no, his name is Kenny Rogers.
Kenny Rogers.
Kenny Rogers. And we used to play baseball in the park in front of my house. Kenny Rogers, he was like years older than all the other kids that played, and he would just run us around like, this is how you're gonna do it. You guys are like, you kids, this is how you play.
That's
the only memory I really have of this kid,
and that was his real name. You just gave his real name out, right?
No, I think so. I honestly, I don't know.
You don't know if that was what you just called him.
All I remember is playing baseball in the park in front of my house.
Yeah.
The kid lived across the street. It was the only time I ever saw him. And I think
that's
his name was Kenny Rogers, but I don't know.
Did you say a famous saxophone player?
Yeah, you did.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what part you're wrong about.
Probably all of it.
Oh, well, I also failed to talk about the incredible fight scene we get when Nick goes to old Birdy's house and is like, "I want my balls back. And I also do wrestling." Oh, he's like, "Oh, my brother." Oh, that was his little brother.
Yeah.
Like, my brother's a black belt. My brother's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's also a kung fu fighter, Hong Kong style, karate chop you. And then they get this really sweet, really sick fight scene. You know, and the music from Blade, it was really hot. And I'm like, shit, this is going down.
Even though Nick does all of his sports with 12-year-olds, I'm pretty sure that his girlfriend was at least 15.
Yeah, that's good.
You get to see that Nick's character is really not a very good fighter or anything. That's why he just hangs with the young kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because he can't take this bird guy.
They think he's Bruce Lee.
tough.
Well, bird guy, because the bird guy does the bird style, the crane
style. That's right.
Well, what I didn't get, though, was right after that scene. Literally right after that scene, you get this quick kind of montage type thing where you see them catching pigeons, and then they're hanging out, and they're just best friends.
Right.
So the first thing they establish is Birdy is weird. He's the weird kid. Nobody likes him. He plays with birds.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you missed a key element here. All right.
Well, which is it? Iron? What did I miss?
Nick learned everything that he knows about women in business in his movies.
Oh, you mean Nic Cage, the actor?
Right. But also Nic Cage in this role. He learned everything he knows about women and business from these movies. So basically, this guy was like, dude, we can make a lot of money if we like train pigeons and stuff. He's like, I'm sold. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Let's
right.
train pigeons.
Yeah.
You're my best friend now. We're going to train pigeons and make money.
Uh-huh.
His kid brother is the one that had the idea.
Yeah. There's some things that don't add up. But I'll get to that, I think, later. But I just felt...
Yeah, so because Birdy wants to train these pigeons to be carrier pigeons.
Yes.
And to carry notes and stuff. So the kid brother, in a very terribly acting way, says... Yeah, I think little kids like me would love to play with.
No, he said he would pay for that.
Yeah. Like, if they could pass that love note to, like, Sally down the hall, that'd be fucking bad, man.
Yeah, you just got to have a pigeon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, the point is, 5 seconds later, they're best friends.
Right.
They're just the sweetest of friends. And that's when we get to see Nic Cage throw the birds in the air and go, yeah! And then we get, right after that, this is probably one of my favorite scenes. We get a scene in the pigeon coop when Nick Al is looking for Birdy. He's like, Birdy? Birdy, are you here? And then Birdy comes out an actual furry. He's in bird costume. I figured, Steve has a furry phobia.
At this point, and I said, "Man, I'm 15 minutes into this movie, and I don't know if I can finish this."
Yeah. It's really awkward. And Nic Cage looks at him and he says, "What the hell is that, Birdy?" And then Birdy says, "It's a pigeon suit I made for you, Al. So the pigeons think you're one of them." And I remember Al said something like, "But I don't want to be one of them, Birdy."
I want to be called one of those.
Yeah.
Al is super freaked out by this, but then the next scene makes it even.
5 seconds later.
5 seconds later, they're both furries.
Yeah.
They're both dressed as pigeons.
They're both running around in Anthrocon,
sneaking into some kind of industrial plant to snag pigeons from the roof.
Yeah.
And then Birdy quickly slips and dangles dangerously over a, 8-story drop. And Al, it's just so crazy how quickly these events escalate. And it's like Al is like, "No, you're my best friend. You're my best friend. I can't let this happen to you, Birdy. Hold on, Birdy." And Birdy says, "No, it's okay, Al. I'll fly. I'll fly into that sand pile down there."
Oh, Rick, this isn't gonna work, Al. I'll Try to make it to that sand pile over there.
What are you talking about?
It's easy, Al.
You're gonna jump?
No, Al. I'm gonna fly.
No, don't jump, Birdy!
Let go!
Don't! No, Birdy! Birdy!
And we get this MTV, like, slow motion music video take of Birdy's stuntman doing this flip into the dirt pile. It was really rad.
Yeah.
I wonder if Birdy's stuntman said, I wouldn't be caught dead in one of those things. And he had to fucking wear it too.
Yeah, and then he had to jump off the roof like 18 times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then Birdy says, I flew out. You know, every bone in his fucking body's broken. I flew out. It was beautiful. Yeah, he's not that hurt.
The whole time, Al Nick is sitting there just rubbing his face, rubbing his chest and everything. I'm pretty sure this is legally the first furry porn.
Yeah. Then we cut back. The movie does this a lot. That was a flashback. We cut back to present time at the hospital or insane asylum. I was thinking maybe it's Arkham Asylum since Nic Cage looks like Two-Face. He's in uniform, and he's observing Birdy now in present time in his room, his observation room at the asylum.
So this was the first point actually that I noticed. I actually think that every time that it switches to Birdy in the asylum, I just think of Kevin.
You think of this Kevin?
Yeah.
Why? You think Birdy looks like Kevin?
So I made notes of it actually. I was like, the asylum version of Birdy is Kevin, but the past version of Birdy is me.
No, let's just be honest here. If Kevin took all his clothes off and acted like he was a bird, it would be Birdy.
That's what I'm saying.
I actually think if the three of us reenacted a scene from this movie, it would be pretty damn good.
That's what I'm saying. Like throughout all of this, I think that Reese was actually Nick's character from beginning to end. But Kevin was present tense Birdy, and I was past tense Birdy.
All right, do you want to let's just try, we'll just try a scene. I don't know who you'll be, Steve. Steve, you can be the nurse who comes in at the end. All right, so I'll try this, okay? So you're Birdy. Birdy? Hey, Birdy. It's me, Al. I'm here to feed you. You still eat stuff, right? Here. Just chew on this shit. Birdy, do you remember me? Remember when I fucked that chick under the pier? Yeah. And you had to be a fucking asshole? Remember, Birdy? God damn it, Birdy, do you remember me? God damn it! Play some Genesis! Fuck! Do you like the nurse? God, she's stacked up there. Have you ever touched tits?
Like the fuck.
That's your cue to come in, nurse.
Oh shit. Hey. I got to feed.
Just give me some time, nurse. Birdy will come around. I'm making some game. Just give me some time.
Bravo.
I knew I wouldn't have to say anything. He didn't say anything.
Yeah. Al is I guess kind of forced to meet with Birdy, and the goal is he's got this really crazy doctor guy, the psych ward guy, who's just really aggressively trying to figure out what's wrong with Birdy. Like it's his life's mission. We've got to figure this out. Nic Cage, you're the only one who can go in. Man, so he goes in and he just can't get to Birdy. And then the scene we just did was when the nurse was supposed to come in and also try to feed Birdy. Then we get another flashback back in time, moments after Birdy jumped off the plant and was taken to the hospital. And then they're on the beach, and yeah, you already said it, Steve.
No, there was like a weird midi area between there before going to the beach where they went to the junkyard.
Oh, that was in between there? Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, so first they went to the junkyard and they bought an old junker car and then started working on it, putting it together. That was the first time we were introduced to Nick's dad.
Oh, that's after this part.
Yeah, because that's after the coop, like where they were keeping the pigeons, got tore down by Birdy's.
No. That was before. I took my notes in chronological.
Okay.
What I'm saying is.
Oh, what Reese was saying.
What I'm saying is they tore that down before the car, because then like they said, what are we gonna do now? And he's like, well, we need to get on.
Yeah. You're right. First they tore down the
Yeah.
Well, they're on the beach, and probably the best line, Nic Cage's best line in the movie, is when he says,
well, come on, those old birds ain't coming back, Birdy. They're plucked and fucked.
Right, plucked and fucked.
I knew Steve would love that.
Yeah, I did. I wrote that down. I wrote that line down. Plucked and fucked.
Yeah. So yeah, they go to the junkyard. They buy this old beater that doesn't work, and their plan is to fix it up and sell it. And then we get a brief scene that introduces Al's dad, the disgruntled Italian garbage man. I loved his dad.
No, the garbage man was Nick's dad.
That's what I said.
Yeah, Al's dad.
Yeah.
But they weren't at the ocean yet.
Alfonso.
Yeah, this is when they just bought the car.
Oh, this isn't at the ocean. Oh, yeah.
No, this isn't at the ocean.
I thought he said that line at the ocean. So I'm confusing you.
They were walking down the train tracks.
Tracks. It was some scenic.
Train tracks racing with the moon.
It was a scenic vista.
But it's important because afterwards, after they got the car and they met Nick's dad, that's when he started talking about the ocean.
Oh yeah,
the ocean, and
you're right.
And, that was when Birdy said, "I've never seen the ocean."
Really?
He's like, "Oh my god, you never seen the ocean? That's where my brother went when he killed himself. We need to go."
What?
Nick's brother from Rumblefish.
Oh, it's a Rumblefish reference.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah. So they do end up going to the beach. Oh yeah, because that is also one of my other favorite parts of the movie is when Birdy is like, "Hey Al, count how long I can hold my breath." 5 Mississippi, Birdy. 6 Mississippi, Birdy. 10 Mississippi, Birdy. 13 goddamn Mississippi, Birdy. It's really
15.
good.
I can't swim, Birdy.
It's like, damn it, Birdy, you freaked me out so bad. We gotta go and find some bitches. And they do. They do. And then we get another scene after Birdy messes up that whole thing with the girls.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's like Nick's down there fucking getting his freak on.
Right. And
Birdy's like, 2 minutes and 40 seconds. I got it.
And Birdy later says, "I don't get the big deal about tits. They're just mammary glands. I mean, big deal." And Nic Cage says, "No, we're talking tits here. Big tits, round tits, fleshy tits." And I don't know if it's meant to be ironic, because I don't think Nic Cage knows tits are birds, too. Tits are a kind of bird, right, Kevin?
Booby. A booby is.
A booby is when there are titmice. I don't know. I just thought of that. I'm weird. But after that whole eruption, Al figures out that Birdy's gone pretty much full bird. Yeah, that scene. I'm skipping a lot here. Then Birdy goes to find...
You skip prom.
I skip prom? Well, tell us about prom.
Well, basically, Birdy is in class one day and demonstrating how birds fly and everything.
Yep.
And nobody seems to be very interested in it, and basically just is waiting for an opportunity to make fun of him. And so he has like a little airplane thing that he made that is more like it's like a hybrid between an airplane and a bird. And so it ends up hitting the wall, and actually he sees this girl beside where it hits the wall, and this girl is actually the only one interested in what he's talking about and interested in him.
Oh, she's into it.
Valley girl that's deep.
Wait, I gotta put the effect on. She is
DTF.
All right.
And she so then later on some time passes in there, and I don't remember what all happens there. It's really hard to remember back to what happened where, just because there's a lot of cuts between flashbacks and everything.
Yeah.
But then when they do some time passes and he's at home, and then finds out that this girl's calling to ask him to go to prom. This is Birdy. And so yeah, she asked him to go, and they ended up going. But it was he was so out of place there. He's trying to dance, but he's like hop dancing. He did.
Yeah. Well, and before that, Nic Cage is right there with his chick, and remember, he's motioning to him. He's motioning to Birdy.
Oh yeah, grab her tit.
Grab her tit.
Basically.
There's so much Nic Cage tit grabbing.
I know. When I watched this movie and I first saw that fucker grabbing the girl's tit under the bleachers, and I'm like, here we go again.
There it is.
That guy cannot stop grabbing tits.
It's a part of my character, okay? Just deal with it.
Yeah.
This is my best James Dean.
This is my best James Dean.
And Birdy is increasingly becoming a little crazy. We're just more and more obsessed with birds.
Well, yeah, let me finish the prom thing. So, prom night, after that's all over, they end up going to Lover's Lane, and she just fucking takes her top down and takes her bra off, and she's like, since you've been so nice to me, here you go. Like, I'm giving myself to you. And he touches her tits like he's examining them, and just like, what the fuck are these things? And Nic Cage is probably just about ready to jump out of his skin at that point.
Oh yeah.
It's like, why aren't you licking them things or something? But
right on.
He's probably drooling behind the camera.
Oh yeah.
But like, come on, Alan, the director, Alan. Come on, Alan, we got to do better than this. Let me in there.
Okay, and she says something. She's embarrassed by it.
Yeah, like she sort of takes she makes it seem like it's her fault that it got awkward or whatever. But so, it just showed that Birdy's just not a people person at all.
No.
But then he goes home and he looks at his birds, and I think he just realizes at that point that he's just in love with his fucking
There's
birds.
no going back.
There's no going back. And then he takes off all his clothes, gets naked, and goes in the cage underneath his bed and lays there.
So there's one scene prior to this.
Okay, which one?
That's important.
Did I miss that? Because that's like one of the best parts. One of the most fucked up
right.
parts in the movie.
You're right. But there's one scene prior to that I have to add in just to make my point.
All right.
Just before that, he goes to this like almost like cultist, we're totally into birds too place.
That's it. Yeah, that's where he meets Perda.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's where he gets the bird in the first place.
Yeah. So he goes there, and there's like these people that are super into birds as well, like the deaf guy and the crazy old lady. And she's talking about all the birds there, and he finds this one bird, and he's like, "This is the one."
Mm-hmm. Little yellow bird.
That's probably one of the things that happened in between the time of her calling him for prom that I couldn't remember.
Yeah. It was so just before that. He just found his soulmate bird.
Yeah.
And he brought her home, and then the girl called, and then they did the prom. And then afterwards, he left her, like you said, and came back home, took all of his clothes off like he's fucking Crusader Cat.
I know. Oh, I was so uncomfortable with this part.
Right. It was fucking Crusader Cat all over again.
Yeah, it was bestiality.
Yeah.
That's not the worst part of the fucking movie, though. The most uncomfortable part, though.
No,
you guys know what part that is.
But Kevin, did you know anything about Crusader Cat back in the day?
No. He doesn't know who Crusader Cat is. Go ahead, Steve. Go ahead.
I will briefly tell the story.
Because people don't know anymore. The only way they would
is like a hero among the furry community, in the fact that he's a Christian furry that would tell stories about how he came into his furdom, realizing that he had sexual attraction to his cat, raped his cat on numerous occasions before realizing that it was against the will of God, and then found ways to I'm not really entirely sure, just like I don't know how he like figured out how to like make cat sex consensual, but there was something along those lines of like, maybe I'm a furry and I should have sex with other people that think they're cats, or something.
Instead of cats?
Yeah, instead of actual cats, but he went into this entire decree of like how he actually had attempted to have intercourse with actual cats.
Yeah, I remember.
And watching this whole scene of Birdy falling in love with this bird, and then coming home and taking off his clothes and like getting into the bird cage with him, I was like, it's fucking Crusader cat all over again. He's making bird suits, he's getting naked, and he's talking about making love with his birds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then he has the fucking wet dream about his fucking bird.
Right.
That's the worst part.
That's okay. That's too far ahead, though.
Is it too far ahead?
Yeah.
Because he's just talking about. That wasn't too much farther than that. Because he just talks about. That's when he's starting to have this dream that he's an actual bird.
I know. Okay, so we'll go to. All right, so we flash forward and we find out that Nic Cage pretty much has PTSD, and there's that shift.
He's the crazy one.
Right. Yeah. There's this shift where the shrink and whoever else working there at the ward, they're focusing their attention now on Nic Cage's character. And it starts to mess with you a little bit. And then we get a flashback scene with Birdy and his dad. His dad is the janitor at the school, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's shoveling coal into this furnace. And I liked this part, actually. I don't know why. I always like the scenes with the dads in the movies we've watched. Maybe because they end up being good actors that play them.
Yeah, I think they were the best actors in the movie, were the two dads.
But he expresses that he's worried about Birdy's future. And he starts talking about himself, and he says, I'm a master when it comes to wicker. He could make the best wicker chair you'd ever seen. And I thought that was premonitory, because neither of them know that someday Nic Cage is going to be the Wicker Man.
Yeah, I thought about that.
Next scene is Nic Cage working out, shirtless. Dude is ripped, holy titmice. And at the same time, Birdy is training himself to fly like a bird because he's got the hots for the birds and he thinks he's a bird. He's been trying to get Larry Bird's autograph. Then there's the scene at the landfill where Birdy uses his self-constructed mechanical wings contraption to fly into a cesspool to la 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 bamba la 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 bamba. Then Al develops a plan to collect the old baseballs. This is now fast forwarding back to the present time. Psycho, I shouldn't use that word, but mentally deranged Two-Face Al develops a plan to collect the old baseballs that they used to bat into Birdy's yard, where his mom would confiscate them because he believes that memory might trigger something in Birdy and bring him back.
Which was just a way to buy him time, just to stay in there with him more.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
There's some mention about.
So I mean, honestly, throughout going through this whole movie, I feel like there's so many references to movies that came out after this. I feel like this was just a breeding ground for a lot of new movies.
All right, like what?
Well, I mean, so Birdy makes some sort of a comment about flying, right? And he's like, they're up on the roof and they're training, right?
Yeah.
Nick's downstairs lifting weights, and Birdie's up on the top doing his flapping workouts.
Yeah.
And Nick's like, Birdie, do you think you're gonna fly? And he's like, yeah, and you just need to believe that you're gonna fly. And it was a line straight out of Peter Pan.
Oh yeah.
You believe that you're gonna fly, man, and you'll be able to fly. You just gotta believe it. And the whole garbage dump scene, it was like the origins of Hawkman from the Justice League.
Yeah.
The Stanley Kubrick version.
Okay. Oh. One point that the movie's trying to drive home is that it's trying to remind you that the Vietnam War was a war where the soldiers were dishonored, where the soldiers were disrespected by the general public. Remember, they were called murderers, slaughterers, baby killers. Mm-hmm. So this movie kind of incorporated that, and the fact that just because, well, I guess really the argument seemed to be that their mistake was enlisting. Actually, I don't know if Birdie enlisted.
No, Birdie was drafted.
He was drafted, yeah. He was drafted, and Nic Cage enlisted. That was a really important part, actually. That's coming up. So we get another flashback, the dog catching scene, where they go to catch the dogs with Nic Cage hanging off the back of the truck with a giant net, going.
I'm sorry. This is where I misspoke. This is my my actual. This was Homeward Bound.
Oh, this was Homeward Bound.
This is the Stanley Kubrick version.
Yeah, and also the song playing was la 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 la.
Like I said, Stanley Kubrick version of Homeward Bound.
There you go. And that whole chase sequence where they're trying to get the dogs ends up
with Dom DeLuise lookalike.
Yeah, real chubby guy. Ends up at this butcher shop, and Birdie doesn't like that it's a butchery, and he lets all the dogs free. And I was like, oh, it's like the pets in the pet shop in Rumblefish. It's Motorcycle Boy releasing the pets. I think that, you know how they put sometimes in movies, no animals were harmed in the making of this.
Yeah.
I think they started putting that in movies because of Birdie.
Yeah.
I mean, how many uncomfortable animal scenes can you remember?
That's true.
A lot. Like when the bird died the first time, but it wasn't really dead, but it was definitely drugged or something.
Are you talking about the scene following right up after that?
I don't remember where it was. I'll be honest.
With the cat?
Yeah, with the cat.
Yeah, that was right after that, actually.
Oh,
the cat came in and almost killed his girlfriend.
Yeah, that was serious. Oh, we get a climactic scene in present time where Al makes another kind of last-ditch effort to get to Birdie, and he just gets really angry.
Almost fucking his nurse?
Well, yeah. Oh, I'm getting there. Oh, yeah. But before that, he screams, "Damn it, Birdie, you're not a bird. You're not a bird, Birdie. Act more like a bird if you want to be a bird." You remember that?
Yeah, you don't even look like a bird. You don't even sit like a bird.
I look like a bird. You don't even look like a bird.
He loses it. He's in deep pain over the loss of Birdie's mental state. And then the hot nurse finds him to comfort him and tells him everything's going to be all right. And he responds by grabbing her tit.
Yep. Go to.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, it's just habit.
It's not
That's
habit.
what in all our movies.
I haven't touched a woman in a long time.
Then, Kevin, Birdie has the damn wet dream about the bird.
Oh,
yeah.
That's when he has it?
That's when he has...
After that?
That's when he has it. That's when he has some kind of just really awkward line, and it has the silhouette of the bird against the building. Remember that? Remember that?
Oh wait, yeah, when he's dreaming of
Genie.
the first flying dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, no, that's right. Because Al comes in after that. Nick comes into his room after that. After he wakes up, and he's just naked in his room. He's like, "Did you have a good night last night? Did you have a good last night, buddy?" No, dude, I was having dreams. I was having dreams about flying.
In my dreams, nothing holds me down. Everything's out and away. There's nothing in my life to keep me here anymore. I wish I could die and be born again as a bird.
You know what made me feel even more uncomfortable after that, though?
Deborah? No.
It shows. Is it when he's one of the times he's holding that fucking bird, and it's after the wet dream, but he's holding that bird, and he's petting it and everything, and the male bird is just going nuts, like acting really jealous, and it's just like, man, should I be reading into this much? Because this is what it seems like. It's like, what the fuck? Are they making it seem okay for this guy to be fucking this bird?
I have a theory on that for the scene coming up right after.
Well, anyway, in the mix of all that, we get to see baby chicks being born, hatching out of the eggs. And I liked that. I liked that part. That was probably my favorite.
I thought it was going to look like him.
I think it kind of did.
And dude, after that, that's the prom. That's when Birdy goes with Doris Robinson.
Was it?
Yeah.
No, it was before.
Yes.
It was no. He went with her before.
I wrote this in order.
I don't care what you wrote.
All right.
Because he came home from the prom and stripped his clothes off and got into the bird nest. So I don't care what you wrote.
No, that's right.
I watched it literally like 20
minutes
ago.
No, that's right. But that's different from the other scene. That's when he has the inner monologue where he says he wishes he could die and be reborn a bird.
Okay.
Then we get the trippy music video with the swooping overhead shots, like he's astrally projecting himself out of body, and he flies through the town, the junkyard, the city streets. Maybe they just put a GoPro on a bird in the 1980s.
Yeah.
Then after that, we get the one and only kind of badass war sequence with Cage crawling through the mud like Schwarzenegger in Predator.
That was Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. Yeah, that was Forrest Gump. And then we see the man screaming in pain and Cage yelling, "We gotta get a medic!" And then boom goes the dynamite, an explosion. Nick's face is all bloody. He's covering his eyes, screaming, "Not the bees! Not the bees!" That was a wrong movie, by the way. That was Wicker Man. A deleted scene from Wicker Man. Cage has more flashbacks from Vietnam. He realizes that he's going insane himself. And it's kind of sad when he has that realization that he's going crazy. That kind of affected me a little bit. Then we get the scene where the baseballs arrive. And that's pivotal, because if Birdy reacts to the baseballs, it means it's a success. Not a success, but it would mean that the line of communication had begun to him. But he doesn't react to the baseballs. Since he doesn't react, we get a brief Cage out. It's minor, but it's okay. And then a flashback where we find it's a scene where younger Al Cage finds Birdy in his bird coop naked. And Al assumes it's related to him having sex after the prom, I think.
Yeah. And he was like, "No, man, I was fucking my bird."
No, he said he flew.
I didn't have sex with Becca or whatever her name was. It was my bird. A bit hot.
I don't understand, Birdy.
She pecked my pecker.
He says he flew, and Nic Cage says, "You flew?
How you flew? How you flew?
How you flew?"
Then we get back to the present, and the crazy shrink guy says, "The baseballs did nothing. There's nothing more we can do for Birdy. You need to say goodbye to him. We're going to have to put him on an IV. He's going to die." Then we go back to the flashback of Al in the uniform. He's in a uniform now, walking away from Birdy's house, expressing that he has enlisted in the military. And then that bitch Perda, Birdy's girlfriend, flies out the window to chase him down the street. "No, Shane, don't leave." And then turns around and commits bird suicide by glass window,
by going through the glass window, because she's not pure bird. That wasn't actually Perda 1. That was Perda, the child of the original Perda. So she was half human.
You're saying Perda? I thought it was Berta.
No, Perda.
It was Perda. Because I watched with subtitulos.
I also
See what I did there? Titulos?
Yeah.
A lot of
Titulos. But that wasn't the original Perda mother. That was the first daughter of Perda.
Oh my gosh.
So she was half human. That's how she had the strength to go through the window instead of just smacking.
Oh, I see.
Shut up, Steve. Are you hearing this?
Yeah.
The freaking bird was half human?
Yeah.
Because
No,
Birdy...
it makes perfect sense.
Right. It's the only way that a bird can go through a friggin' window. That was like inch thick glass. Did you see it?
Yeah.
So yeah, he's upset that his firstborn daughter is
It's
has
legitimate.
died. Yeah, right.
Oh, so it was his
You'd be
daughter.
pissed if your kid went through a friggin' window and died.
You're right. So now where do we go?
Now we go back to Vietnam. There's a soldier guy bleeding in the back of a helicopter, screaming and waving around. And then said helicopter crashes and explodes, killing everybody on board, I assume. Camera slow pans to Birdy in camouflage, admiring a toucan or something like that, one of those parrot birds. Mm-hmm. When an air raid drops bombs next to him, thrusting him into a panic, followed up by a bird's eye view of flaming, scorched earth, Apocalypse Now style, kind of. And they're just showing that Birdy saw some shit, man.
Yeah, this was in Birdy Law. Now the soundtrack here, right? This is what is it? What did you say? Peter Gabriel. And the
Can
song
you
is actually
feel it
Rhythm of the Heat.
coming in the air tonight?
No, it's Rhythm of the Heat.
Rhythm of the Heat?
Rhythm of the Heat.
Ah.
I know this because Rhythm of the Heat is also the song that is used for probably one of the best AMVs, anime music videos that I've ever seen, with Princess Mononoke, which ironically fits so well with the theme of this movie.
Why is that?
Because the whole theme of Francis Mononoke was the people versus the nature and the wildlife, and that's kind of some of the underlining theme of Birdy's character.
Yeah.
I you know what? I'm not going to bother explaining it. Link it. I don't know if we have the capability of linking it. If not, look it up on YouTube. Fucking.
Yep. We'll link it in the
Rhythm of the
description.
Heat.
Rhythm of the Heat. We'll link it in the description. Thanks, Steve. Wow. We cut back to the present time. This is a great scene, even for Cage. His monologue, when he's lamenting what's happened to him, and he's recounting the traumatic event that left his face burned and mutilated, which, by the way, we never do see.
Even the lyrics make sense.
What?
Even the lyrics from the song.
She's still on the.
I'm still stuck on the song. It's honestly all right.
Okay. Well, all right.
Finish the story.
No, I just wanted to talk about that scene.
I really enjoyed that scene a lot.
Did you think it was well done, or did you think it wasn't that important?
I actually really liked that scene. And I really liked the choice of music for that scene. Rhythm of the Heat was a fantastic
I'm
choice of music for
I'm
that
not
scene.
talking about that scene
I
with
am.
Rhythm of the Heat. I'm talking about his monologue.
The whole. Fuck you.
Are you talking about the war scene?
I'm talking about the war scene transitioning into the modern scene. Yes.
Okay, all right. So
'Cause it was the
yeah.
whole ending sequence kind of follow the same transitionary period. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That was a good song. Is that what you want me to say? It's a good song.
Forget it. Forget it.
It's a good song.
Forget it.
Do you like how I make sure to pronounce the G?
Yeah.
Song.
Yeah.
Rhythm of the Heat is a good song. If you want to hear it, we'll have the song in the link below. Can we now move on from the rhythm of the Heat? Are we good?
I'm sorry.
Do you want to recount the history of the song?
There was a point. The lyrics are not included in the original, and if you actually know or understand the lyrics, I think they actually follow along pretty well and add some depth
All right.
to that point. That was the only thing I wanted to make.
Cool.
But you want to be an asshole about it.
I didn't want to be. I didn't, but
You
I
just had
was.
to be. I know.
I just
It
had to
wasn't-
be.
It wasn't a choice. It was a requirement. Go ahead. Go ahead and
Then,
move on.
can we talk about Nic Cage's monologue
Absolutely.
now?
Go ahead. Move on to the monologue.
How did you feel about it?
I felt fucking great.
I don't even know what I look like anymore, Birdy. I don't know if it's me under these bandages or what some army meat cutter thinks is me. Jesus Christ, I don't want a patched up instant pity excuse for a face. I just want it to be Al under here, not some sewn together freak mask. But shit! What's so great about their fucking world anyway? We'll just stay here and keep the hell out of
Moved by it. I felt it was quite emotional. It's when Al is holding Birdy. He's like, we're gonna be crazy in here forever, together, and stuff, and how he regretted things that happened in the past. I just thought it was good.
Not unlike a lot of the movies of the time, I question still what was real and what was not real.
Oh yeah, that
And I
was
think that
yeah.
was probably part of the point. I know.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Stad.
You're welcome.
But I think it was welcome because I didn't know which one was real, whether Birdy was really talking or whether. Because I made a note early on in the movie of questioning whether or not Nick was actually insane throughout the whole movie. I mean, he's in an insane asylum.
Yeah.
And the question is, is he actually there visiting a friend of his?
Right.
Or was he actually admitted?
Mm-hmm. I thought the same thing. I thought, is Al actually Birdy?
Yeah.
But I didn't know how that would work out. It would be interesting to see the explanation.
I didn't
for
go that far. I wasn't quite Fight Club with this one.
But this is, we're at the end of the movie, practically.
Yeah.
When all of a sudden, when it's just Birdy and Al in the psych ward room, Birdy looks up and goes, Al, sometimes you're so full of shit.
Sometimes you're so full of shit.
And
was that you?
Nick is like, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, he talked.
It was. You talked.
He talked.
It's really you.
And then he's trying to explain to the orderlies, to the doctor, that Birdy spoke. And then the way that he reacts to them shows that he's pretty crazy, or he could be considered crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That
Which
he's
they've been paying more attention to him than Birdy at this point. Anyway.
Yeah, and you start to feel like, okay, he is hallucinating Birdy talking. Most likely, seems to make the most sense. Especially when we get the Jackie Chan fight scene where Saint Nick kicks an orderly dude in the nuts. That whole escape sequence kind of reminded me of the prison escape sequence in Face Off. only without the
Actually made
guns.
reference to Face Off somewhere earlier on in the movie.
So they run up to the roof, and Birdy decides to fly. They run up to the roof, and Birdy just jumps off. And Al is like, "No!" And you're just like, "Oh, Birdy's dead." He really thought he was. He really thought he was a fucking bird. That's what I thought. And it was like he was a bird. He's like, "Oh, I'm free," and he tried to fly away. And maybe that is what happened. We don't know, because it's kind of weird what actually did happen or what's shown in the movie. You find out that the roof of the next building is actually only a few feet below. So Birdy's okay. He didn't jump off the building. But he turns around, he just turns around and says, "What?" And then it's black.
La 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 bamba, la 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 bamba.
So they're on they're in a military
Hospital, psych ward.
Hospital, yeah. So it's probably pretty guarded around there. So I'm sure as soon as they got off the roof, they were shot dead, don't you think?
Oh yeah.
That's why they fitted the black bear. Because right after that, they just opened fire.
Well, I think if we even so much as consider that the ending is a hallucination of Al's, and that wasn't the reality, then when we have to question what the reality was, it gets a whole lot darker.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like now we're together forever in the psych ward and just let our fucking minds go.
Yeah. It's either that or they actually ran up to the roof and jumped off.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But imagine if that really was the reality. If they did jump up the roof and Birdy was actually coming out of it and sane, and they were just ran off together, and Birdy didn't have to fuck birds anymore.
Then I would be I would just be so pissed at the director for making the movie just make me feel like
What movie have we watched so far that had an ending that made any fucking sense? And don't say Valley Girl.
Rumblefish.
Rumblefish didn't make any fucking sense.
What do you mean?
His brother went and jumped in the river and got shot down by cops, and then he was like, "Fuck it, I'm going to the ocean."
He didn't jump in the river. He didn't make it.
Well, he almost made it to the river,
and then
he got shot down by the cops for stealing beta fish.
Rusty James puts him in the river, and then he goes and checks on him in the ocean.
Rusty James. I'm gonna go drive out to the ocean, and that was the end of the movie. How did that make any fucking sense? This shit in the 80s made it.
That's a good point. It's like, I don't know.
It just
we were able to make more.
It seems
of it,
within the context of the movie, the logic of the movie, it was okay. We could make some sense of it.
Yeah.
I honestly think this is one of the best endings we've gotten in the last few movies we've watched.
Are you serious?
I am. This is the only movie that's at least left us off on something that's like, thought-provoking, interesting, and it leaves you with like your own imagination.
Okay, it was clever.
Yeah.
The ambiguity is clever. I'll give it that. Especially how they amped it up towards the end.
Yeah.
I mean, you were pretty much on Al's side from the beginning. I mean, you had some inkling that he was an unreliable narrator. Of course.
I sure hope you weren't on Birdy's side.
What if they went up? No, what if they went up to the roof and he just couldn't understand Birdy, and he just threw Birdy off the roof because he thought he could fly. I don't know.
We probably wouldn't have Anthrocon.
Okay, problems I had with Birdy. Number one, the furry stuff. Yeah, probably.
It started with the fursuits, like I said.
The fursuits.
And I was like, oh, fucking fursuits.
I'm pretty deep into the furry sexuality stuff myself, but Even I know that you probably shouldn't fuck animals, and you definitely shouldn't fuck kids.
No, but I did feel like the story had some serious problems. For instance, like I mentioned before, Birdy and Al's friendship started so fast that we never really get a sense as to why Al, or what Al sees in Birdy. That's what I didn't get.
Right.
I think we needed, what you do is...
It jumps so quickly through that.
Yeah.
Like they didn't have time to explain.
I think there was more questions as to what Birdy saw in Al. I mean, because Al said basically right from the get-go, I'm all about them Benjamins. If you've got a chance to make me some money, I'll suck up to you.
Yeah.
But it was why Birdy was willing to bring Al into the mix. That's my question.
Yeah, I thought it would make more sense if Birdy had something redeeming about him that made you feel for him. But there was not. I just felt like he was the weird kid.
Yeah.
And he had a problem, and his problem just kept getting worse and worse. That it was like I'm uncomfortable with this person entirely.
Right. Because that me in high school.
So you have to give the weird character something redeeming in order to get us watching it to feel something. And they didn't do that.
Was that something redeeming?
What was it? I think it was kind of that he was smart.
No, Nick was the something redeeming.
Okay.
Yeah. That was it. He was always the weird kid. But people dealt with it because of Nick.
Okay.
Just a few random chicks' friends. He was trying to get them with Birdy, and then trying to hold out so they didn't completely cock block him, but it still ended up cock blocking him.
I just felt really sorry for Birdy because I felt like he had a serious mental illness from before when he was born.
Yeah, I'd say.
It's called being a furry.
I think maybe some kind of autism is what I think.
Yeah.
It's possible. I don't know. But he was socially inept and awkward, and he had this debilitating hobby of collecting birds and maybe having sex with them. I don't know what disease that would be.
Bird flu.
Other Christians called me a devil worshiper for having sexual thoughts about dragons.
That's Birdy. Man, that's Birdy. I don't know. It was unique. It took some, man. It was a movie with balls to take the furry stuff that far.
Yeah,
in the 80s.
I said, man, I think that's a lot of the reason for the furry communities nowadays. It's because of this movie.
Oh, could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you are interested in furry culture, or if you've even considered any kind of physical relationship between humans and animals, this movie's got everything you need in it. Yeah. Especially if that fetish is bird related.
Yeah, for sure.
You could probably jerk it about 4 or 5 times.
But at least it has a lot of chicks in it.
Cheap.
No, not like that. Cheap. Do you have any fun facts or anything to add, Steve?
I haven't learned canary yet.
Yeah.
Are
you gonna disqualify this from your final pick just purely on the furry stuff, or are you gonna give it a chance?
That remains to be seen.
I see.
I mean, we've officially disqualified Cotton Club.
Mm-hmm. So
right now, our contenders for our official cage fight, our season 1 cage fight, is Valley Girl, Rubblefish, Racing with the Moon, and Birdy.
What an interesting mix.
It is an interesting mix, and I think it's gonna be, I think when we started this, we weren't really sure, and we thought we had our own ideals of how we thought this was gonna go. But I will admit, I have been challenged quite a few times as to the direction this is really going to go for me. And I'm pretty excited actually for the official Cage fight on this.
Yeah. Well, everyone, do be sure to stay tuned for the season finale, which will be our official Cage fight. Each of us will bring in our favorite film, and in a series of mini games I have yet to fully concoct. Past tense. No, I have yet to fully concoct. That was right.
Yeah, you were right the first time.
God.
So I do want to ask though, with all the
go ahead and
ask. I'm gonna ask you a question. What is up with all of the war movies at this time?
Oh, it was just a
This
big
is,
thing.
What, the third out of 5, technically, that were based around war.
Yeah.
Well,
the third.
It could, maybe it was a fad.
That's why I'm curious. I don't know. I mean, I don't know a lot of movies from that era. So is that kind of common for that time period, or is it just so happened that Nick was?
Well, I mentioned Apocalypse Now, which was a Coppola movie. You had a lot of Platoon. That might have been really early '90s.
Yeah.
But there were a series of Full Metal Jacket was not long after.
Why are you saying the third? I can only think of 2.
2 what?
War movies that we watched, or that had war in them. That we've watched.
Oh, Steve says there's more?
I thought it was just Racing with the Moon and this one. Birdy.
Yeah. Was that?
I think Steve's wrong.
I think I am too, and I'm just deciding whether I want to say something long, like Valley Girl being the war against those people.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Say that Rumblefish is the war against drugs.
Yeah. I thought you meant like military. So.
No, you're right. I fucked up. But at least we recorded this episode. So
I did want to mention though, in this movie, I really picked up on. I thought that when Cage was able to really get amped up and cage out and stuff, I thought that was his best acting in the movie. I thought when he had just a normal tone, easy line, it was terrible. Like every bit of acting that wasn't like him losing his temper or something was just terrible acting. It sounded like it was like an infomercial or something. Just awful. Just like his kid brother at the beginning, when he talks about how he thinks it's a good idea, how all the little kids will love carrier pigeons.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Did you notice that too, or? All right. Well, yeah, I noticed that. So that's all that matters. Is me.
Yeah.
Anything else?
So my only other point of trivia, I guess, in this one is that this movie is actually based off of a book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Written by
William Wharton.
William Wharton, that's right.
Yeah, we talked.
Have you read it? Oh,
do you know what the book's name was?
No, I must have missed that part. I must
To
have
fuck a mockingbird.
Is that the prequel? Because shit can get really fucked up really quick.
Yeah.
Why don't you just? I think Reese should just stay in that voice now the rest of the time.
This voice?
Yeah. Sure.
Thank you. Is this entertaining?
Yeah, but I like the other one better.
Which one?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Oh, man.
Are you pissed, Steve?
Oh, no, I'm good. I'm just thinking about tits, you know. They're just like they are on a cow, just in a more stupid place.
Oh yeah.
No, they're not like that at all.
Yeah, they are.
Nothing like that.
There's a movie
What
called.
do they like then, Kevin? What do they like?
They're fat, flabby, fleshy, tasty. I don't know. Just cut one off and taste it. See what it's like. Maybe grill it up. Probably pretty fatty.
Sometimes you're so full of shit.
You guys really like this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought that this movie was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was a complete piece of shit, but I did think that there were a lot of kind of shitty parts about it. I thought there were a lot of really hard to like. A lot of parts of it were just, I don't want to say boring, but I felt I felt the same way as I did with Cotton Club and parts of it. Like, come on.
Wow.
I just didn't like parts of it because I thought it was just dull. But then I did enjoy him having a wet dream about that fucking bird.
Kevin, if you want, we can just watch Valley Girl again.
I like how he has a cum rag there all the time. Anyway.
Yeah, he has to.
Oh man.
Those birds, man. They can peck your pecker like nobody else.
If he didn't clean up that cum, he was probably doing a real good service.
He had to, because every time his mom was like, "Birdy, you don't clean up that cum, I'm gonna get rid of them birds."
You think she called him Birdy?
Did you ever hear him called anything other than Birdy?
No, but I don't know. I never heard his parents call him anything.
That's true. I don't think any name was mentioned other than Birdy throughout the whole movie, except Birdman.
Correct.
I think he was called Birdman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bird Boy. Hey, Bird Boy.
Bird Boy. That's it. Yeah, you're right. Bird Boy.
Bird Boy. Bird Boy.
Or the weird kid whose mom steals all her fucking baseballs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She's a Rottweiler.
James Earl Jones.
Well, I'll just say this. I will be surprised if either of you two picks this as your choice to win.
Let me ask you this. I'm not going to ask for details, but do you guys have a clear picture of who you intend at this point to go into the round one of the cage fights?
For what category, though?
I mean, I think that you have to decide on one
on our
true movie.
On our favorite one so far.
On your favorite one so far. I'm not asking what it is. I'm just asking, do you have a clear picture at this point of who you would be taking to the cage fight?
Yes.
I don't yet.
No? I think I have a pretty good idea of who I intend to bring.
If it's for a favorite movie, yes.
Yeah.
Now, if it's for a movie that I think is the most fun one to talk about and make fun of, that might be.
It's who you think you can carry on into round 2 to contend with the next generation of Cage.
The one that you think best represents Cage.
Yeah.
Or captures Cage.
Ooh, then that changes my decision.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I think I have an idea already of what Steve will pick, but I won't say.
Bring it.
I think I have an idea of what he's going to pick too.
I think you will both be shocked and awed.
Yeah, actually, man, I got 3, and I got to bounce back and forth.
What do you mean you have 3? We've only watched 4. So, which one did you eliminate?
Don't even say. Don't even say, because then it's just it's just a sneak peek.
Oh. Well, thanks for listening to this episode of Late Night Cage Fight. As always, we enjoy watching these Nic Cage movies, especially Birdy. It was brilliant, a masterpiece of cinema.
And we do this for you and your love.
Mm-hmm. All of your love. What was the name of that song again? The song, Steve?
Rhythm of the Heat.
Oh, I thought maybe Love was in that title.
Well, that's another song.
Burning Love? Yeah, that's different.
Yeah. Rhythm of the Heat. You fucking asshole.
Rhythm of the Heat makes Burning Love. Rhythm of the Heat sounds like a name of a band.
Make sure to catch us next time for our season finale, Cage Fight. Thanks again. Have a good one.
It's not season finale, son. He disqualified Cotton Club. That means we still have one more movie.
We're going to watch another one? Okay.
Oh, okay.
If we're disqualifying Cotton Club, then we're only at 4.
Well, what's the next fucking movie? Once he got out of the...
Wait a minute.
You make the call.
Let me do this again.
Are we gonna go for 4 because we disqualified Cotton Club, or are we gonna add a 5th?
Let's add a 5th.
The Bird in Blue. The Bird in Blue.
Bird in Blue. Based on the life of Ned Hanlan. I don't know, whatever you want to call him. The late 19th century Canadian sculler and world champion. Hanlan was one of the first scullers successfully the sliding seat. I don't know how badly I'm pronouncing any of this, but
I'm just laughing.
Honestly,
Reese just sneezed, and I wish he would have used the big guy voice for that.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to see a cover of jacked Nic Cage. So,
all right. So I got to do that whole thing. Thanks for listening to another episode of Late Night Cage Fight. On the next episode, we're going to be adding another film since we disqualified Cotton Club. And Steve, what are we going to be watching?
I already said it.
The Boy in Blue?
The Boy in Blue.
And what's that about?
It's based on the life of Ned Hanlan, the late 19th century Canadian
yeah. That
sculler
guy.
And world champion.
Yeah.
Hanlan was one of the first scholars to successfully utilize the sliding seat, in quotation marks.
Oh, boy.
I thought for sure it was going to be about a boy that falls in love with a bear named Baloo, a furry boy.
I actually thought it was going to be about a police that got jacked and decided he was in love with an animal
named Baloo.
Named Baloo, who was also a bear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not like bear like as in a hairy gay man, but like actual bear.
Oh, not like Bear Grylls.
Right. Yeah.
This is gonna be hard for me to edit.
You're welcome. We like to keep it challenging for you. So, stars in this movie include Nicolas Cage, Cynthia Dale, Christopher Plummer, David Naughton, Sean Sullivan.
Christopher Plummer?
Plummer.
Is that the guy from Back to the Future?
No, that's Michael J. Fox.
I don't believe so.
You're talking about Christopher Lloyd.
Oh yeah, Christopher.
Which is also really funny. Oh man. Who is Christopher Plummer?
He's in Malcolm X.
Tell me what he looks like.
He looks like Alfred from the Batman movies. Also, he looks like any other white old guy.
Also, he could have been a doc. Yeah.
Reese, he was in Priest.
He could have been a doc. You're right, Reese. Yeah. I mean, you're close, I should say. Closer than I thought.
Do you remember the movie Priest that you were a really big fan of?
Loved it.
Yeah, he was in that.
Great.
He was also in Up. I don't think he's done anything notable other than I actually was going to say other than this movie, but we're not even going to say this movie yet. We'll just see. What's that?
Are we done yet?
Yeah, I think so. In fact, you can just take all this shit out.
Do you want to end it? Or should I just do it again?
Does it need another ending?
You want to see my dick?
I don't know. It might be fine.
Yeah, I think from a certain point we just kind of fucked it up, and it's just kind of steadily going downhill now.
Hey, I think we just got tired of talking about that fucking guy fucking the bird. I don't know.
I swear to God, I think he actually fucked the bird. Like, not even just in the movie, but I mean, like, I think the guy that played that role actually fucked a bird just to get in character.
You think he? Do you think they cut the scene of him fucking the bird out, and then he was really pissed that he had to fuck a bird for the movie, and they didn't even keep it in the movie?
I think that probably happened. Reese, I hope you're still recording, because I think you should just clip this back in.
Because, gosh, that would be really a shame.
Yeah, I think that's really what. I think that would be good, though. Like, think about it. It's like the 30 years later film, like the 30 years later version. They're like, here's the unedited, uncut Birdy fucking the bird.
Don't you think it would be funny if he had a dream?
It's like the Pornhub version.
It would have been funny if he would have had a dream of fucking this giant bird, but it would be like somebody in a bird suit, and he
Big Bird.
And he
He's fucking Big Bird.
Yeah, he's fucking Big Bird. He wakes up and he looks over and his mom's in bed with him.
I also loved how his Birdie's dad was right on par for being a basement dweller. There was one scene, like, I don't remember where it was, but like earlier, like somewhere in the middle of the movie, he's like, I'll be right back. And he just goes downstairs into the basement and he finds his dad. He's like, hey, Dad, how's it going? Can you tell Mom that I want to buy a bird? Well, son, I don't want you to have a bird, man. I want you to be better than me. I want you to have a real job and commit and be a part of society.
Yeah, because there's nothing wrong with you.
I want my bird to have babies. I need baby birds, Dad. If I don't have a boy bird, then Mom's gonna know that I fucked my bird. And then what's gonna happen? All right. We'll get you your bird, Birdie. We'll get you your bird. Just calm the fuck down and quit fucking your birds.
Totally agree.
That's good.
Well, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Late Night.
You fuck a bird?
Late Night Cage Fight.